Good morning and welcome back to BIFA TV, your daily dose of industry information. Today's episode is looking at Washington Dulles Airport and the developments and how this is going to impact the UK forwarding industry. To tell us more, we're joined by Eric Jehu. So, Eric, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Welcome to BIFA TV.
Thank you very much for having me.
Now, let's look at the beginning. What's driving the push to develop Washington as a major air cargo gateway?
Well, so I represent the Virginia Economic Development Partnership, and I lead a
Mhm.
team focused on developing the supply chain ecosystem throughout the state. So, our mission as a state authority is to grow the economy. So, that simply means attracting company corporate investment and job creation. And so, we're doing that through the lens of supply chain. And that's a new initiative and a new approach to economic development. So, what does the state have to do with developing an airport? Well, we are focused on growing the economy in a couple of key sectors. And so one of those key sectors is what we're calling advanced manufacturing, which includes
Mhm.
pharmaceuticals, food and beverage, and advanced materials. Well, all three of those industry sectors, air cargo is a necessary and ongoing component of their
Of
supply
course.
chain. And so, for my sector, as we're focused on developing the supply chain ecosystem, having a global cargo gateway in the Commonwealth that can connect those industries to the world and help facilitate the movement of their goods, whether it be the raw materials for their manufacturing or the finished goods once
Mhm.
they're done producing, we believe that there is a profound opportunity with Dulles to become the next global cargo gateway.
And looking at the airport itself, how can it kind of compete with established gateways like New York, for example, for that international freight?
New York is a fully mature market.
Mhm.
Of course, it's the legacy population center from when the country first developed and going all the way back to the beginning of the industrial age in the country.
Yeah.
But there's the airspace in over Newark and JFK is oversubscribed. The FAA has actually been asking the airlines to reduce flights just because it's way too congested. And from a landside perspective, both of those airports are again fully developed and landlocked. So as they make investments, they're looking to improve the efficiency of the buildings that are already there. So like tear down and rebuild, go vertical and automation and so forth. So you can't really grow anymore. But where does that future growth go to? And that's where we believe Dulles can play a major role.
Of course. And now moving kind of closer to home, when we're looking at BEFA members, what advantage does this have for UK forwarders?
So, taking a step back, the London Heathrow's airport, and historically, is very similar to Dulles in terms of what it had previously focused on: capital of the
Mhm.
country, globally connected, lots of belly cargo and belly cargo space, wide body aircraft, and Dulles is the same. So on the one hand, we're actually over here in the UK to learn from what Heathrow has done to develop the cargo community, and so you're ahead of us in terms of how you've evolved and helped the airport recognize that they are an economic engine for
Mhm.
commerce. The opportunity for forwarders in the UK region, I mean, the trade between the European Union broadly and the UK and the US is in those industry sectors that I mentioned.
Mhm.
So pharmaceuticals in particular and food and beverage, and then another one that is a powerhouse sector in Virginia is the data centers and telecommunications and the movement of the actual servers themselves for building out the cloud infrastructure and the AI infrastructure. So these are all high value commodities that are traded between our two commodity or two countries, two economies in mass. And so the advantage to Dulles, of course, is direct connectivity and access to the entire East Coast,
Mhm.
just purely geographically speaking. So you mentioned JFK earlier. If your forwarders have clients in the Southeast where the majority of future investment is coming from, so like Virginia and South, we compete regularly with North Carolina,
Yeah.
South Carolina, Georgia, Texas, Tennessee. That's all within the Dulles catchment area,
Mhm.
and Atlanta's kind of at the lower reach of IAD, but you can't get there in a single day from JFK.
Right.
It's just a little bit too far. So we're better positioned as a
Mhm.
as a state and as an airport to reach more of the buying power essentially and the consumption power in the US than the airports in the north.
Of course, that's great. And in summary, I know obviously we've touched on it slightly, but why should logistics companies consider Virginia as that hub for US distribution?
Yeah, so the geographic argument, I don't think we can belabor that point enough. I mean, it's just strategically from a location perspective, there is more consistent reach and access from Virginia than our friendly competitive states to the north.
That's great. Well, Eric, thank you so much for your insights and, of course, your time this morning.
Absolutely. Pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
That is all for today's episode of BIFA TV, your daily dose of industry information.